welcome to Butterflies of Wisdom and One. And even though this episode is being recorded on Tuesday, it's going to drop on Thanksgiving. I'm actually going to put it up today and have it drop on Thanksgiving. So those of you that want to listen to it, and those of you who are at home cooking turkeys or chickens or turduckens or whatever you plan to cook on Thanksgiving, and need a little company in the kitchen, because God knows I'll be in the kitchen too. I know my stepsister, my mom, myself will be in the kitchen. My dad is actually declared he's going skiing, so he'll not necessarily be in the kitchen with us, but yes, I'm going to get my hands dirty, so I figured I might as well join you in your thanks. Mel and I might as well join you in the Thanksgiving pre-festivities, because I know it will get mightily lonely in those kitchens if I don't. So, I wanted to tell you guys that my book is out, and it's called The View from My Fabulous Teaching Desk, and today we're going to talk about the self-publishing process, and I'm going to tell a little bit of a story here and why I equate it if I didn't do PT. That's my story. So I'm going to let Mel ask me questions, and then we're going to also talk about Charlie Rose, who just got fired from PBS and a couple other morning shows for sexual harassment, because I feel like it's appropriate. Those of you who have watched the news know about Harvey Weinstein and Roy Moore and all that good stuff. So I'm going to give my opinion piece on that. And yeah, so this is going to be a fun episode as always, or so I hope. And hopefully you guys learn a little bit, and hopefully you guys get company in the kitchen.
Well, hello, and happy Thanksgiving week to everybody. Wynn, how are you on this fine day? What's going on with you? How you doing?
I am a little stressed out.
Oh yeah, how come?
Out, which is not my normal modus operandi, but I'm a little stressed out just because my book almost didn't make it out. And that's where I'll begin. My graphic designer said to me, last night you should go with a publisher. Well, I'm like, a publisher, it's expensive. And she goes, I can barely handle create space and my own books, let alone your books. And she goes, the system is too tough. And I thought, imagine if I didn't do PT. Imagine if I gave up on something like PT because PT was too tough. And I'm thinking, oh my God, you don't want to publish this book because the system is too tough. Now granted, we got it all in control, we're good now, but she's never working on publishing cover art for me again. I have now learned my lesson the hard way as to hire a professional editor and a professional graphic designer. Now let's back up. I've been working on this book. This book has been in my heart for, I would say, a good 11 years. And the reason why I will bring my feelings about Charlie Rose in at the end is because I got sexually harassed and I got more over emotionally abused by my boss. So I know how that is of being abused by your boss. And so I just want to show you guys how easy but yet how challenging it is to publish a book. And I'll be authentic as I can be, but the fact that my graphic designer gave up because the system is too tough, I don't think it's fair. She says, well, most people aren't doing it on a daily basis. And most people are doing it on a daily basis. And I said, well, most people aren't unless you're a publisher. And yes, most people aren't. And I already have a publisher lined up. It's going to cost me a pretty penny, but I don't have to do behind the scenes work. And so if I get another publishing deal, that would be I would be extremely happy. But I'm done with behind the scenes work. I want to produce the best content I can. I don't want to touch the publishing process again because it's a nightmare.
It's a big fish to take on, right? So what are your focuses coming up for this upcoming year? I mean, I've been advising people to take a bird's eye look at their schedules and what kind of actionable steps are they scheduling to get to their goals closer every day. So what are the main things that you're only going to focus your time on?
My focus is going to be me and school, which we'll get to in a minute, and then producing the best books that I can, writing the best books that I can. And, of course, I have a team wanting to help me. And, of course, when I get a good graphic designer, which I have now, I will then delve into the self-publishing process. But publishing the view from the fabulous view from my teaching desk has been a nightmare, absolute nightmare. And because I thought this person knew what she was doing, and she thinks the book isn't out yet, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
It literally is. You can walk into Barnes & Noble today, hand them the ISBN number, and say, order this book for me.
Oh.
So don't be running to Barnes & Noble on Thanksgiving unless you really, really want to. But I will put the ISBN number in the show notes. And so you guys can actually see my book in soft copy in Barnes & Noble. And I'm actually publishing another edition tomorrow on Amazon. So you guys can find it on Amazon. And right now it's on all ebook readers except for Kindle. And let me explain to you before I get hate mail about why I didn't put this book on Kindle. Because the return on an investment in Kindle is awful. And if you do Kindle Select, it puts you at a limited amount of readers. And then you can do Kindle Countdown Days, which basically means you put your book for free, which that doesn't help anyone, including myself. So that's why I did not stick it on Kindle, but it is on iBooks, and I will send you, guys, if you want, just email me, and I will send you guys the manuscript. And the manuscript has to be saved into a PDF, and then it could be read on Kindle. Or I will put it on Kindle a month from today, a month from its launch date. But I'm doing a little experiment to see how it does outside Kindle, but I will eventually stick it on Kindle a month from its launch date. So we're doing this, November 20th? Yesterday was the 19th. So December 20th, it should be on Kindle. That will take 2 minutes, you guys. So don't have a panic attack. But I am right now doing a little experiment as to see how it does outside Kindle, and then if it does well, I'll stick it on Kindle.
Wow, that's quite a process you're going through there, my friend. So, for the folks who don't know what you wrote about in this new book, Wynn, can you give us a little brief synopsis of what it's about?
Well, for the folks that didn't listen to last week's episode, I actually read a portion of it, and this is a fictional novel of what and we're going to leave it like that because I can't say the names in my my novel. Otherwise, I can't say the name is in the real book. I wish I could. And otherwise, my teaching career would be ruined, basically. And so we're going to leave it at that. And then I promise you guys don't know this. No one doesn't know this. But when I retire from teaching, which is when I hit the New York Times bestseller list with a self-published book, any of my self-published books, then I will retire from teaching. Then I will write a book about teaching with cerebral palsy, and all my things will be revealed about the best job from the worst job in the world to the best job in the world. But right now, I'm leaving it as a fictional novel, and so, but these are based on real life experiences. What I saw in the class from 2006 to 2009, and I admit it publicly, and I can win that my abuser, who I believe is still in this valley of Aspen, Colorado, was on antidepressants. My mom and dad did not know that until my dad read I Win, and he said, and I called him, who was the aide on antidepressants? I called my boss from 2006 to 2009. He goes, really? Why was she traveling with U.S. Times? And I'm like, because my mom hired her, and my dad saw what was going on in the classroom. My mom was completely oblivious to my abuser. She hired her as my aide.
Oh, wow.
So I could have been sexually abused. I could have been sexually harassed too. I could have been more emotionally abused than I would like to think. And this was not in my house by any means. This happens to people in the workplace all the time. This happens, sexual harassment and sexual emotional abuse and sexual abuse. It happens to people in the workplace all the time. So I came out with my own story, Me Too, hashtag Me Too, there we go, in October of 2012, and this novel delves into it more, and then I'll be writing another book delving more into it.
Wow. Looks like we've got a pretty busy year coming up, right?
Yeah.
I had a radio interview today about a book I co-authored with about 25 others in a multi-collaboration called Breaking Barriers, and it's going to be released on December 21st. I'm very, very excited about it. It's personal stories of struggle and victory and how you pick yourself up to live an extraordinary life. And I got interviewed by the person who organized all the authors to go into it. And I got to tell you, there's nothing more rewarding. It's one of the most gratifying things to be able to speak your voice in a book and to add value to others, right, Wynn? Do you feel that way after you write?
I definitely agree. And I'm slowly but surely coming out to tell my story, and this is one of the reasons why I want a degree in journalism, so that the journalism community sees diversity. And I'm actually bringing one of my teachers on this podcast in December. We'll be calling in on Saturday, December 16th, and I want to ask her, how do you get a job in the fashion journalism community, a stable job? 2, how do you feel about diversity and abuse in the journalism community? Because to touch on what Charlie Rose did, sexually harassing women, I mean, this is a high-quality journalist we're talking about. High-quality journalism. Yeah. And now my profession is going to be torn and brewed with that? I don't think so. So I'm going to try and combat that. And Harvey Weinstein, that's another case if you guys haven't watched that. But we're talking about, it happens all the time. And if you're brave enough to tell someone about it, people have asked me, have you told people? And I said, yes, I told people. It's been out for 70 years that I was emotionally abused and by my boss. And a lot of people think that the abusers live with a disabled child in a home. That's not true. That's not true. A lot of people think that the abusers live with the able-bodied in the home. Some of them do, and some of them don't. But a lot of them live with them.
Right. That's, wow. I don't even know what to say to that. Now, I mean, you know, when I read that about Charlie Rose, my heart broke. It really did, because I enjoyed watching his roundtable discussions, you know, on PBS. I really did. And then to see him, I think he's, on 60 Minutes now? Or was on 60 Minutes. I thought, well, God, here's just a tremendous icon of journalism, so to speak. You know, I mean, I don't know if he's regarded that way, but he was up there with, you know, Peter Jennings, Mike Wallace. I mean, all these heavy hitters, right? And you know, it's just tragic. It's so tragic. And not only him, but just this onslaught of journalists and politicians and actors and, you know, people of creative power in the entertainment industry that are just being outed, you know, and rightfully so, because, you know, these women that have suppressed it, you know, for fear of retaliation or having a black eye over their career or whatever, you know, reasoning why they didn't back then, and now it all resurfaces. It's like the gates have opened, and it's just such a shame. It's hard to put into words what it's like, but like Kevin Spacey, right? Brilliant actor. Someone I've really enjoyed watching over the years. You know, I mean, I don't know anything about Harvey Weinstein. Apparently he's part of the big process of the entertainment industry, from going from casting to film, you know, so to speak. And then Brett Ratner, I guess, is a pretty high profile director. But still, you know, it's, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just kind of stunned. When I saw Charlie Rose's name, I just thought, there is no limits here. It's completely up. It's completely on. You know, this is not going to stop anytime soon. This really isn't. you know.
It's bananas, and I'm actually going to my teacher hasn't brought it up yet. My teachers haven't brought it up yet, but I'm actually going to ask my teacher who I'm bringing on the podcast how she feels about it, because she's now teaching a fresh class of journalism students, including me, and I'm sure that she doesn't want the Taws and Feathers glued to the journalism industry. And my teacher, both of my teachers actually haven't brought up fake news. They might have brought it up in one way or another, but they haven't really talked about it. And I'm surprised that one of my teachers, the other one learned, but I'm surprised the one I'm bringing on the podcast, Amy Wicks, hasn't brought up the Totally Rose thing. And I am not kidding you guys. She is on top of it like this, no tomorrow. And this woman works for Vogue, and this woman works all over the place. And so she's on top of it, and she is the one that told me that most magazines are going digital and losing their print magazines. And so she's on top of it, but at the same time, I don't think she wants to scare anyone the week of Thanksgiving, but if she does bring it to her students' attention, I will definitely take a screenshot of it, and then I will definitely post it in the show notes with her permission, because, as I said, she's on top of it, and so she's a journalist, and I'm on top of it too when it comes to the news and getting notifications on my phone. But as I said, I think we all need to start coming out to tell people what's going on, because back in my abuse went from 2008, the abuse got really bad in 2008, and then I lost my job in 2009. So from 2007 to 2009, I was abused. I wasn't appreciated, and my abuser knows. And then one of the things I do admit in I Come a Win is that I Come a Win is my original biography, you guys, if you don't know what I'm referring to. And yes, I Come a Win can be found on Amazon. And one of the things I admit in that book is when my abuser, my aide at that time, forgot her antidepressants and starts laughing at me and says, "We need to go to a pharmacy quick, ha ha." And because I forgot my antidepressants, and if I don't take them, I'll go bat shit crazy on you, and that's her quote, not mine. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. And yeah, so my abuser tells me this. We figure it out, and so being alone with my abuser was scary. Was absolutely scary. And we were at a conference in Dallas, a early childhood education conference in Dallas, and what happened was my mom and her sister were flying in the next day. They were, actually, no, we went to another one in Dallas, This was, I believe, in Chicago. So, no, I was alone with my abuser for a week.
Oh, jeez.
I was alone with my abuser for a week, and, yeah, it was scary. It was scary, and luckily my dad saw what was going on. My mom thought this person was the nicest person on the planet. My mom I shouldn't say this about my mom. I love her dearly, but my stepmom has more of a people sense than my biological mom. Let's just put it that way. And I don't think that my mom understood that a PT could I also got emotionally abused by a priest and a physical therapist. The physical therapist this is the first time I've been admitting that I was emotionally abused by a physical therapist. And I admitted that I was emotionally abused by a priest once before, but never in the book. And so and these people, I was emotionally abused by a physical therapist in 1999, I think. 1999, yeah. 1999. And this person was, and now this is public knowledge, this person had MS. She was very grumpy to begin with, but I was emotionally abused. And the fact of the matter is, when people were with me, same with my boss, when people were with me, other people were with me, my boss would put on the sunny personality, same with the pediatric physical therapist. And that's what happens that's what happens. And I haven't done enough research on emotional abuse. I'm just talking about from my personal experience. But I've been told that when other people around me put on the Sesame Street Big Bird Sunny personality, and that's what happened to my boss, and that's what happened when my boss was around my mom. Luckily, my dad saw what was going on because my mom would hire anyone under the sun. And
not good.
And so that's why, getting back to the novel, that's why I wrote this novel, to get it off my chest and to start telling my story in books. And when I retire from teaching, which I don't know when that will be, I hopefully sometime soon I will write another book talking about when I transferred jobs and how my job now supports everything I do. They wouldn't hurt a fly, and if the kids bullied me, my boss would come in and say, "What's wrong with you?" Whereas if the kids bullied me at public school, my boss would join the crowd.
Yeah, I was just talking to my workout partner today about bullying, and it really brings out the protector in me when I see that or witness it or think about it. I love my dad. I have nothing in the world of, love and respect for him. He and I had a troubled connection when we were young, I was younger, and God rest his soul bless his heart on his, deathbed, if you will. We had a private moment, and he apologized to me for just beating me as hard as he did when I was a kid. And I know what it's like to be bullied. I know what it's like to be dominated in the worst way when you're helpless and you're so undeserving of it. And whenever I hear stories of abuse like that or bullying or just, overpowering people who can't at that moment defend themselves or they feel compromised in a way, it just really, aside from it breaking my heart, it really angers me. I'm so sorry that you went through that, and it's just not right. It just,
Well,
in my core
you.
values, it's just so wrong. I'm sorry. It's just,
It's
not good.
taken me years to get over it. It's taken me because on top of that I had my spinal fusion. So on top of me being emotionally abused by my boss, I was dealing with a freshly minted spinal fusion that left me almost for dead. So and of course I didn't really think about it until a year after I Come a Win was published, and actually I really didn't think about it until my stepmom came into the picture, because I don't know what I was thinking. I was just trying to get my story out in a blog about cerebral palsy, and I didn't realize that, and now with this Totally Wrong thing, it brings back horrible memories to me getting emotionally abused and almost sexually harassed, but more emotionally abused. And if my boss at Country Day ever knew what I went through, I'm sure that, and one of these days I will tell him why I'm keeping my toe in the education field, and to make sure that kids don't get bullied or picked on or emotionally abused by their teachers. And I tell you what, and when we get back from Thanksgiving break, I'm actually going to sit down with my boss that I have now, and actually tell him why I am keeping my toe in the education field. And he's going to be shocked, because a lot of people know my abuser. They know my abuser and they know me, because my abuser was fairly well known in this town, and I still have friends that know friends in the education field that definitely know my abuser. And if it came out that I was emotionally abused by this person, my friends in the education field up here would be shocked.
Yeah, God, we can really deep dive this whole thing over and over, but it's just, at the end of the day, it's just so wrong, right? I mean, there's sure has been a lot of, oh God, I don't know. Dare I say cleansing events?
Emotionally abuse them.
Right?
It's just so wrong. And the fact that my new career is getting torn and feathered by this fake news thing, and the fact that my new career is also getting torn and feathered by one of the top journalists on PBS doing this nasty stuff to these women, I feel sorry for the women.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend to understand what that feels like or what they've gone through, but obviously, if the shoe was on the other foot and that happened to me, just the violation, the personal violation of it all would just be, I think I would feel horrible. Being
Yeah.
a person who's very aligned in my heart and my mind and my body, I think if I were taken advantage of that way, I think it would be incredibly personally violating. That's how I guess it would have to feel. And there's no excuse for it. There just isn't. There just isn't.
There's no excuse for it.
Yeah.
And you guys, go read my book out loud to your kids. And eventually, when this nightmare of publishing a book is over, I will eventually stick it on audio tape. Right now, it has been claimed on Amazon as my book, and so then I'll be able to stick it on audio tape. But I already have an audio producer wanting to work with me. Now I'm just waiting for the New York Times to knock on my door and get me on the New York Times bestseller list. And I need to sell 90,000 copies of paperback and ebooks in 1 week. And I believe it was in your first launch week that you need to sell 90,000 copies. Well, I'm going to still try because it's not full officially a week yet, but I'm going to still try, and I need you guys to help me get to the New York Times bestseller list. Also, I have a couple other books coming out that will make it to the New York Times bestseller list because I have learned so much through this process of publishing a book that it's not even funny. And Mel, do you want to ask me any questions about start to finish, or save that for our episode after Thanksgiving?
I say we wait until after Thanksgiving. I think, no pun intended, but we filled our plate pretty good today about a lot of things.
Oh, yes, we did.
I think right now it's a good time for reflection. I think let's think about the things that we're thankful for that we've come through this year. So I'll start, Wynn. How about that? I'll say that first and foremost, I'm grateful.
Well,
ever so grateful for our collaboration. That's for sure. And I'm grateful and thankful for the energy that people give me. All the people that I deal with and that are my friends, that are my family, my professional colleagues and clients, and just living moment to moment and experiencing it all and growing forward. And some moments are great, some moments are not, but I got to feel all those emotions and I feel like I'm living. So I'm definitely grateful for that. So what about you, Lynn? What are you grateful for? What are you thankful for?
Oh, God. Where do I start? I'm grateful. First of all, I'll say I'm grateful to my book publishing team, and the first member of that team is my graphic designer, my ex-graphic designer, who kind of puts the kibosh on publishing books, but that's okay, Sue Dant, and my ghostwriter, Dorothy, and how she and I met was a project way back when called Slush Heap. I believe that's still on YouTube. And so she found me. I didn't find her. I found her again on Facebook because now she follows me on Facebook. And at the time I was struggling to get this book is polished up. And I said, wait a minute, you're a ghostwriter, aren't you? She told me this many, many, many years ago now. And so I said, well, here's a project for you. Help me. And so I handed over her, my book to her, and basically what a ghostwriter does is they add words, they make it pretty, and then I'm heavily thankful to my editing team who gets a huge shout out, and I know they listen to this podcast. Mary, I you save me from hours and hours of looking at my own work, and editing is the most important aspect of a cover of a book. And then I'm also thankful for my, I guess you would call them my adopted family, who I get to be hanging out with on Thanksgiving, and because my biological family doesn't, one, they live on the East Coast, two, we have a strange connection now, and I'll admit that story, on the podcast in January, why I'm so estranged from my family. I'll admit that I have briefly said that on a podcast, but I'll go into details with Mel in January as to why, as to why I am estranged from my family, and I don't care because it's public knowledge. I mean, my stepmom knows, everyone knows why I'm so estranged. And yes, I do have a 18-year-old cousin, believe it or not, 18 years old, believe it or not. There's a age difference between his mom and my mom, and I'll go into that in January, and so you guys get more of my story slowly but surely, and hopefully it would help you amend family members. But because of Thanksgiving, I am not going into why I'm estranged from my mom's family, and so I'm actually now closer to my dad's family than I ever thought I would be. And what else am I grateful for? Well, I'm grateful for yummy turkey that I don't have to cook. I just have to help make the desserts and help hold the dessert steady as we go to our Thanksgiving feast, because and so I am, and I'm super thankful for all my team who listened to this podcast, i.e. everyone else who comes out of the woodwork to listen to this podcast and me ramble on for God knows how many hours. And I'm super thankful for my co-host who shows up once a week without fail, even though we had to change schedules today, but he still managed to show up. So yes, what I'm thankful for. And please, everyone, put in the comment section of the, or shoot me an email what you're thankful for. And when this episode drops, if I have time, I'll drop it tonight. It will definitely drop on Thursday, but if I have time, I'll drop it tonight. And please tweet me about the book, and please tweet me about this podcast, what you guys are thankful for, and then the next time Mel and I meet, we'll read what everyone's thankful for. Yes, I'm going to start reading a little bit more of my books and telling you guys a little bit more about me, just so you guys can get to know me. And yes, when I come out to the West Coast, you guys can hug me in person, and that should be a fun one. And I will put the ISBN number in the show notes, and then the next time we'll meet, we'll talk about a Huffington Post article where I just realized my school is one of the top schools for fashion in the U.S. for actually, they're one of the top schools for all their programs, such as video game design, drone work, and yes, I said drone work. We do have classes on drones, and of course, fashion design school where I am in myself. So we'll start with that in the next couple weeks when Mel and I meet. But I wanted to talk to you guys about the book, and then we'll talk about self-publishing next episode when Mel and I meet. And Mel, you might have to tell me, when will that be?
I think it's going to be either next Monday or Tuesday. We'll coordinate a time and date that works for both of us. I will be here.
Next Monday or Tuesday, and hopefully
possibly, or even Thursday. We'll figure it out. But we'll be here regardless.
Thursday, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
we'll
give everybody our best.
My house guest doesn't overstay a welcome. Although if she does, she can join the podcast, and you guys will get to hear fairly eloquent communications major. Actually, she and I are on the same path, and she's closer to cap and gown than I am, but that's she and I are on the same path, and people think journalism and communications are completely different. No, they're not. So if my house guest decides to overstay her welcome, she can be welcomed on the podcast, but I know she has to go back to school. So that's unfortunate for me, but we'll figure it out next week, you guys, and we'll drop another episode. And as I said, happy Thanksgiving, and let's make it a strong 2018. Let's have all the business wishes you wish to come true, and let's end 2017 strong and bring in 2018 strong. And Mel, any closing thoughts?
Yes. Make sure you do some form of exercise before the day before and the day after Thanksgiving. How about that? I'll give you a free pass on Thanksgiving Day.
Great. So, okay. So, you guys
How about that?
heard Mel. You heard Mel.
That's right. Go for a walk. At least do something.
The exoskeleton the day before Thanksgiving, Mel count. So, yes, I think that does. So, Miss Lynn is going to be walking in her exoskeleton the day before Thanksgiving. So that works for working out, and then I will probably do something with my sister the day after Thanksgiving. I'll probably we'll go hang out, which means a lot of walking. So that counts too. So I'll be doing my two pre-Thanksgiving and then day after Thanksgiving. But I agree, Thanksgiving is a great time, but if you don't get in exercise, it's going to hurt you in more ways than one. So listen to Mel, so please go for a walk.
Yeah.
And
do something.
Walk.
Whatever your fitness level is, just do something.
Whatever your fitness level is, put those Fitbits on, put those Apple Watches on, and go do something.
The Fitbit. That's right.
The
Absolutely.
Fitbit
good.
and the Apple Watch. They're mental machines.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
So we'll see you guys next week, and happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Bye.
Bye.